You know how these stories usually start? We were the perfect couple. Love at first sight. Bullshit. We were. Normal. 10 years together. A daughter, Sonia, 7 years old. An apartment. A mortgage. Me, a sysadmin at a big company, always buried in servers, routers, those goddamn clouds. Katya. Katya worked as a travel manager. Smiley, outgoing, always the center of attention. I always thought, lucky me, an introverted nerd, to have a wife like that. My sunshine, our balance. She dragged me out into the world, I provided, or so I thought. Stability, first warning signs, probably a year and a half ago. Little things, the usual, at my mom's, with the girls, a little office party, but more frequent, and her phone. Her phone became like a second skin, never let it out of her hand, always face down. Before she might toss it on the table, the sofa, now like it was glued there, my jokes about who are you hiding from me? A got brushed off. Oh, Max, stop imagining things, just a habit. Then he showed up, Anton, a colleague, new guy. He's so positive, Max, a real live wire. The whole office adores him. She'd tell his funny stories, how he charges everyone up. I saw him a couple of times at office parties. Yeah, smiley, athletic, shifty eyes. I didn't like him. Instantly. But what could I say? Stop talking to your colleague? I'd sound like a paranoid, jealous freak. Swallowed it. But the atmosphere at home got, different. Not fights, just coldness. Katya was physically present, but her thoughts. Miles away. Sex? Became rare, sort of. Mechanical. Excuses. Tired. Headache. Early morning. I believed her, or wanted to. Work kid, daily grind. I was exhausted too. Thought it was a slump, it'd pass. And then it happened. That goddamn number 12. I was supposed to fly out on a 3-day trip, urgent server upgrade at a branch. Tickets, hotel, all paid, couldn't cancel. That morning, as I was packing my suitcase, Katya walks into the bedroom beaming, eyes shining like a little girl's. Max, guess what? Anton won the office lottery. 2 tickets to that super cool popular band name Katya loved concert tonight. He offered me the second ticket because his girlfriend suddenly got sick. Isn't that incredible luck? Something clenched inside me. Alarm bells. 2, smooth, too bright. Tonight, but I'm flying out. I mumbled, more to myself. Yeah, you're on your trip. She didn't even try to hide her relief. And I've been dying to see them. Golden tickets practically at the stage. Can't let luck like that go to waste, right? I looked at her radiant face, energy buzzing off her. I hadn't seen her this alive in years. Well, sure, I forced out. If it's such luck, just be careful. Getting home, it'll be late. Anton will drive me. He has a car. She waved it off, already spinning in front of the mirror, picturing an invisible outfit. Don't worry. Anton will drive me. Those words stuck in my throat like a lump. But what could I say? Forbid her? Start a fight? Over nothing? I'd look like a total paranoid. Okay, I nodded, feeling a stone settle on my soul. Have fun. Just call when you get in. Will do. She tossed over her shoulder, already flying out of the room, presumably to start prepping for tonight's happiness. I left for the airport with a heavy feeling. Something was very wrong. Her unnatural joy, that relief I was leaving. Anton. As the plane climbed, I stared out at the shrinking city and caught myself thinking, I don't want to go. I want to be home. But it was too late. The trip was hell. I physically did my job, crawled over servers, configured software, solved problems, but my head was back home. I called Katya that evening. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Background noise, crowd roar, music. Max, hi, everything's great. Concert is awesome. Call you later. She practically shouted and hung up. She sounded drunkenly happy, or just happy without me. I called back an hour later. Phone off. I called again. And again, off. All night. My messages went unread. I didn't sleep. Pictured everything. The worst images flooded my head. At 3 a.m. local time, I texted, Katya, where are you? Everything okay? No reply. At 6 a.m., Katya, please get in touch. Worried. Silence. At 7 a.m., her phone finally rang. She was home. Voice hoarse. Sleepy. Max, hi. Sorry, my phone died at the concert, and then Anton and I and a couple of other guys from the office hung out at a bar for a bit. I'm so wrecked. Got home and crashed. What bar? Until when? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Oh, don't remember. Somewhere downtown. Maybe till 3? She answered dismissively. Listen, I need more sleep. My head's pounding. Call later? We hung up. I sat in the hotel room staring at the wall. 3 a.m.? Phone died? Hung out with a couple of guys? It was all clumsy. Blatant lies. I felt it in every cell. I felt sick. From the realization, the helplessness, the savage animal jealousy tearing me apart for the first time. I didn't recognize myself. I was always calm, rational. Now I wanted to punch the walls, scream, fly back immediately, and what? Interrogate her? She'd just call me crazy. I finished the trip in a daze, worked on autopilot, flew home with one thought. I need proof. Not stupid suspicions. Facts. ironclad, or I'll lose my mind. At home, everything looked mundane. Katya greeted me normally. Cheek kiss, questions about the trip, but her eyes were wary. A quick check. What do I know? What do I suspect? I played my part. Tired, stressed from work. Inside, I was boiling. I started watching, really watching, like a detective tailing a suspect. Her phone, always with her, even to the bathroom. Charged it not on the shared charger in the living room, but by her side of the bed. Never left it unlocked. If I walked in unexpectedly while she was reading or typing, she'd flinch and quickly lock the screen or switch tabs. Once I asked for her phone to check the weather. Mine was charging. She hesitated, panic flashing in her eyes for a split second. Just a sec, I closed something quickly and handed it over. I opened the browser. Clean, but the feeling I'd interrupted something important lingered. Her outings became even more frequent. New girlfriends, new office parties. Once she said she was going to the movies with a friend. I knew that friend had the flu. Katya had seen her the day before. I said nothing. When Katya left, I called the friend, pretended to ask how she was feeling. She was home, feverish. Movies? No, I'm home. Katya knows. A lie. Naked, brazen lie. I went cold inside. I started checking bank statements. Found a few suspicious charges on her card. Cafes we never went to, a high-end florist. I hadn't bought her flowers recently. Perfume. Not huge sums, but odd. Once saw a parking payment downtown during work hours. She was supposed to be in a meeting at the office across town that day. I called her work, asked for Katya. They said she took a day off. Day off? She told me she worked a full day. Another lie. With each day, each new lie and shred of evidence, I felt the ground crumbling. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, looked at her, my wife, my child's mother, and saw a stranger, a beautiful smiling actress playing a role. Me, the fool in the audience, buying the act. Worst of all was seeing Sonia. She didn't understand, but felt the tension, became quieter, clingier. Every daddy, why are you sad? Or mommy, when are you coming home? And cut like a razor. I hit breaking point. I needed the truth, all of it, bitter, filthy, but truth. I couldn't live in this sticky fog of suspicion and lies anymore. I resorted to a desperate move. Sleazy, low, but I was out of my mind. I bought a voice recorder, tiny, good mic, and a GPS tracker, the kind that magnetically clips under a car. One evening, when she was heading to a friend's again, I knew there was no friend, I used an excuse, checking tire pressure, to get under her car. My hands shook, my heart pounded so loud I feared she'd hear. I clipped on the tracker, the recorder. Trickier. I took a risk. Knowing she carried a big bag, I carefully and visibly sewed the recorder into the inner pocket of her favorite leather jacket, the one she was about to wear. It activated automatically with movement. My only hope was she wouldn't dig into that pocket and feel it. Adrenaline flooded me, icy. I felt like the ultimate scumbag spying in my own home. But I saw no other way. Either I learn the truth or I snap. She left. I stayed with Sonia. Put my little girl to bed, kissing her forehead, whispering, "Sleep, sunshine, everything will be okay." Didn't believe it. I sat at the computer, launched the tracker software. A tiny red dot crawled across the city map. Not towards the friend's place, not even close. It moved towards an upscale residential district across the river. I knew that area. Anton lived there. He'd bragged about his new apartment once. The dot stopped. Not at a cafe, not at a cinema, at a residential building, a specific building. I opened their company website. In the Our Stars section was Anton's photo and his mailing address for the office. Residential address. Coincidence? I checked the map. Exactly. Katya's car was parked outside his building. I sat staring at the screen. The red dot blinked like an evil eye. Time crawled. Half an hour, 2, 3. Sonia softly snored in the next room. A dull roar filled my head. Images, each more vile than the last, flooded my mind. Then the dot moved. The car started, headed home. 40 minutes later, I heard the key turn in the lock. Katya walked in, looked, tired but satisfied, eyes bright, a half smile on her lips. She smelled of expensive, unfamiliar cologne and wine. "Hey," she said softly. "Sonia asleep?" "Asleep," I answered, looking at her. My voice sounded alien. "Have a good time?" "Yeah, all right." She walked to the kitchen, poured water, chatted, had a glass of wine, just beat. She took off the leather jacket, tossed it on a chair. My jacket, with the recorder inside. I waited for her to shower. The bathroom door clicked shut. I grabbed the jacket, hands trembling, reached into the inner pocket. The recorder was there. I pulled it out, switched it off, though it should have auto-off, and with that little black box holding my ruin, retreated to my study, locking the door. Plugged the recorder into the computer, opened the file, Katya's voice muffled by fabric. "Thanks for driving me. It was wonderful." Anton's voice, smooth, cocky. "Anytime, Katya, you were unreal tonight." Engine noise, city sounds, then the hum of driving, silence. Then a car door thud, footsteps. jingle of keys, another door, silence, then the sound of a kiss. Long, wet, moans, her giggle. In a hurry. Anton, can't wait. You've been driving me crazy for 2 months. Katya, softly, playfully. Shh, what if the neighbor's here? Anton, screw 'em. Let 'em be jealous. Footsteps, another door. Background noise shifted, enclosed space now. Apartment, then sounds. Sounds that stopped my heart, that made it pound with savage force, pushing out a black, sticky wave of hatred and pain. Rustling clothes, heavy breathing, her moans, real, passionate, the kind I hadn't heard in years. His growls, lustful whispers, explicit, dirty, words she said to him, warm, tender, vulgar, things that were once only mine, now flowing freely for someone else. In his bed, in his apartment, while I sat home with our daughter, losing my mind, I listened, the whole file, start to finish. From the kiss in the car to her tired whisper, I gotta go. Max might worry. From his stay till morning to her pathetic, can't Sonia. From their passionate cries to the disgusting smacking of goodbye kisses by the elevator, I sat in the dark study. The monitor screen was the only light, illuminating my face, wet with tears I didn't feel. The recorder lay before me. A tiny black Pandora's box, a roar filled my ears. My body was ice cold, yet burning inside. I stared blankly. I saw our home, our life, our past, and I saw it turning to ash. Right now, from those sounds, from that truth, on the other side of the door was my wife, my child's mother, the woman who had just betrayed me with cynical ease, who lied to my face, who destroyed everything I lived for. I didn't know what I'd do tomorrow, didn't know how I'd look Sonia in the eye, didn't know how I'd even breathe. But I knew one thing. My old life was over, right now, in this darkness, under the vile sounds of the recording still echoing in my skull, and the ticking clock on the wall counting down the last seconds of my ignorance. Now I knew, and that knowledge was worse than any death.